Hello and welcome into your space. Having covered the types and the strategies, the authorities, and then the centers of human design, we're going to take a look at profiles. Now, profiles are the way it plays out for you, the way that your personality works and how it looks all around you. Hopefully, it will become a little clearer as we go on. But there are three types of profile. There is a right angle profile, a juxtaposition profile, and left angle profiles. And if you're looking at your body graph, you will see normally in a reading what your profile is. If you're having trouble finding it, then please reach out. It's useful to know which profile you have, right angled, left angled, or juxtaposition, so that you know what they are here for, because they are here for different things too. So right angled profiles, if you're a right angled profile, are here for themselves. If you're not a right angled profile and you know somebody who is, you understand that they are here for themselves. They're designed to be self-centered to a degree because they have a personal destiny, a personal thing to achieve. They're focused on discovering the self and working through the challenges they come across. And others may initiate new experiences for them, but it won't really alter their path. They're here to explore life for themselves, to do the research on what this life is. And their profiles are either a 1-3, investigating experimenter, who's here to investigate, study, and then experiment in order to know what's true for them. So if you're making lots of mistakes, as you are an experimenter, you're supposed to. If you're a 1-3 profile and it resonates with you that you really like to research things, you want to research everything before you experiment, then that's about right. That's you living in alignment with your path. This is how it plays out for you. You're here to investigate everything, research it thoroughly, and then experiment with it to see what works and what doesn't. As you can see, this would be a profile that works very much for themselves. The one side of it, the investigating part, tends to slow down the experimenter a little bit, so you don't tend to rush in where angels fear to tread. If you're a 1-4 profile, you're a right angle profile here for yourself and designed to share what you investigated with other people, especially in or about relationships. You tend to investigate and go quite deep and then wait, find opportunities within your network to find what you know. Again, this is a slower moving profile because they investigate first. They're not, don't tend to be a very spontaneous profile, but they have a lovely mix of warmth in their network and, wariness towards people who aren't in their network. But it's a right angle profile. They're here to learn about themselves through this. The 2-4 is the hermit opportunist profile. So the hermit, it as implies, it is really a person that likes time alone. They're very, very happy in their own company and they need that time for study, for they tend to share what they're gifted with, but they tend to also have very natural gifts. They tend to have to be called out. So the hermit part likes to be in their own company, but the people in their network will call them out. And that's when they're their gifts are really recognised. It's like they can't see the genius of their own self, but other people see it. The 2-5 profile combines the energy of the hermit, the person that likes to kind of be alone, with the universalizer. So it can be a tricky profile. You like to be alone, but you need to get out into your projection field to actually share what you learnt or share what you know. So you are always responding or looking to respond to the correct call for your energy. You tend to have very, very meaningful impact, real revolutionaries. But you do need a degree of loyalty to your own natural gifts when you stay there. You're in a good space. You naturally know where your gifts are. The hermit tends to be a gifted individual. The 3-5 profile gets an awful lot of judgment. The 3-5 is an experimenting universalizer. They're here to go and work out what works by trial and error. So they don't have the caution of the investigator. They tend to be a little more devil may care, a little more free and easy to go and try something. Now, providing they have the energy that I'm trying something, it doesn't have to succeed, that's slightly easier to manage than I'm trying something, oh my goodness, I failed. Why do I fail at everything? This is terrible. You're here to do that. You're here to experiment with what works and what doesn't. And then you're here to share that with everybody else. Perfect teachers, really good teachers. They're resilient and adaptive when they can come to terms with that experimenter part of them, that they're here to do that and not listen to the judgment of others. If you feel disappointed in things that don't work and it encourages you to go in, that's the not self side of you, the why me thing. That's not the not energy of you. Equally, the other right angle profile is a 3-6 profile, or another right angle profile is a 3-6 profile, an experimenting role model. The 6th profile, if you have a 6 in your profile, you tend to have a 3-phase life experience that before 40, really experimenting, really learning about all the things. There's nothing off of the cards. And with those experiments, you gain wisdom. And from that wisdom, you tend to share your experience. You tend to become the role model for those learning through you. You tend to get it wrong before you get it right on the 3rd line, which is part of your design. Again, I find human design enables you to be kinder to yourself when you understand this is actually what you're here for and how it's supposed to play out for you, because this is how you're going to learn what you need to learn. So as I said, the 6 profile tends to lead a life in 3s, a process where there's lots of experimenting, a process where you withdraw completely for almost a decade and consolidate what you've learned. A few little extra bits might creep in there, but essentially you're in a phase that we call on the roof. You're done with all of the ground experimenting stuff, and now you need to consolidate with what's happened before you step into that role model phase that is the 6th profile. The other right angled profile, the last one, is the 4-6. This is an opportunistic role model. They are designed to be influential. They use their network to model self-awareness instead of being defined by the world around you. They're here to influence people deeply, so their network really matters. In their early life, the third line phase, as we said, because they've got that 6, they tend to have a lot of experiments and friendships and relationships, and they learn all the things from there. And then they go on the roof, consolidate all that information, and then when they're ready to come off, some of them need to be really encouraged off of the roof at this particular point to step into that role model space. Is quite happy really at that stage to be the observer, normally having had quite a few lessons in life. It can build a fear of rejection, especially if the world has not been particularly kind about your experimenting phase. So own it, 4/6s, own it. You are here to be a shining light because you have a lot of wisdom to share. The juxtaposition profile is on a fixed track. If this is your profile, or you know somebody who appears a little more fixed, others tend to join their track, stay for a little while, but they may not stay for very long, and they won't sway them off of their path. They are the bridge between the right angle and the left angle, and they're designed to influence others through knowledge that they've gained, studies, investigating something that they love. Accepting their more fixed path is what they're here for. And often if you follow your conscious sun, you'll find what you're here to live out. So if you want to know about where your conscious sun is or anything, then just reach out and I will point you towards it. If you happen to be a juxtaposition profile, there is only the one. As I say, that is the 4/1. That is the opportunistic investigator. They are their network is very, very important. They have an intimate network of friends, and then they're led to what their heart desires to investigate, study, explore, and they do that to an outstanding degree. The left angle profile is transpersonal. They are designed to have many intersections in life, designed to be with others and help them to fulfill their purpose. They also need others to fulfill their purpose. Other people in this profile can completely change their purpose in a way that's correct for them. They're more aware of others in the world, more connected to possibly past life information, past lifetimes. So these profiles are either 5/1, which is the universalizer. They're kind of here to persuade others into the foundation of new thoughts and ideas. They go very deep, and then they share within their field. They go out, they study, they learn, and they share what they learn in the network. They're more likely to offer up some heretical or different kind of thinking to other people's projections, and that can be really disappointing for them, and they can really, really struggle with that. So because they're transpersonal, that experience of the other is why they're probably sought out in times of crisis. They're designed to have these encounters that are fairly life-changing for them or other people. So they will rattle. They will rattle, shake the box. The 5/2 profile is the universalizing hermit. So they get called out to share what they've learned. They get called out to integrate with the world and to share their experiences. They still need an awful lot of time on their own. They don't always live out the 5 because they're unsure if they have what it takes to deliver what's being projected onto them. So these people tend to have the demands of a community coming to them. In fact, they almost call it in, which is difficult because they like to be alone. They know that they need to retreat, and it's important that they can. They need to get out of that projection field because that's how they nurture their gifts. This is how they develop and nurture their own gifts, even if they're not seen as, even if they don't see their gift as a gift, it's still something that innately they want to nurture. And they don't respond well to being pressured, but they're often the people that are told that they're underachievers and they're not motivated, when in fact they need to be free to answer the pressure that's right for them. The 6-2, you see that 6 profile again, it's going to be playing out in 3 parts, is the role model hermit, the one that gets called out into serving as a role model, and they really kind of resist it. They don't particularly like that. They're showing us how to authentically live and how to accept our unique selves. In the 3rd line, they really retreat. They go out to experiment, get it wrong, retreat and repeat. The ideal life cycle for the 6-2 is on the roof. They love to be on the roof. That phase between sort of 40 and 50, and sometime after 50, after that Chiron return, they like to come off the roof, and they're more inclined to share the role model that they are. That's what they were here to be. So the hermit allows them to nurture the gift that they have, to explore it, to be with it, to understand it on a very, very deep level without the input of anybody else, which is what they're seeking. They're not seeking input, but they tend to stand out, so people want them to come out, but they do have to be encouraged out of that hole. And the 6-3 is a role model experimenter. So you've got the 3 profile that really likes, well, doesn't really like it, but they absolutely need to experiment with the world. They seek perfection, which can be very difficult for them. It's hard for them to endure the 3 profiles' need to experiment with what works and what doesn't, and not to take the what doesn't work very, very personally. They often have a lot of change and instability because this is them learning the experimental process. And this intense trial and error period tends to keep going until they're about 30, maybe a bit older. And it's through this experimenting, though, that they discover that their uniqueness is the perfection that they're actually seeking. So it's not perfection in the way that we look at it. It's the unique being that they are here to be. They are designed to be resilient, very resilient, and have a capacity to learn that there is a wonder in learning, a real wonder. If they can embrace the chaos, which will need supportive relationships to do that, they're kind of that rebel, but with a cause. They have one. They thrive when they're in charge, and they've got a room to experiment with, but they need that room to be really understanding and really supportive. They need lots of freedom. And they can seem quite noble at times, like things are beneath them. But it's just a way of detaching from the pain of the experiment thing that they're finding so difficult. Anyhow, these are the lines, the profiles for human design. So if you can't find your profile, like I say, reach out. If you need any assistance or support with it, same. Otherwise, this profile is here to give you some idea as to how things play out for you, again, in an effort to inform you so that you can be compassionate about the experiences you've had to date. It's quite possible you are supposed to investigate things to death, or supposed to enjoy that time alone to do your own thing, because you're here to do that. And you're supposed to experiment, quite possibly. You're supposed to have a network of people that you don't really go outside. Hopefully these things help you understand that this is how it plays out for you, because this is where you get the depth of life, the depth of what you're here to experience. So I'm sending you loads of love. We're going to start tomorrow, day 19, really going into the cleansing and releasing phase, which is, we've done an awful lot of learning up to these 18 days, a lot of reflection. We're going to take a good look at that tomorrow. So much love. Take care.